Hello, my name is Dr. Alistair Hewitt, Archivist of the SCP Foundation. If you are seeing this, then you will have level 3 clearance or higher. If you don't, then you will be eligible for immediate termination. You have been warned. Today, we will be looking at the group of interest, Dr. Wondertainment. Welcome to the exploration of some groups of interest that we face here at the SCP Foundation. I've been ordered by O5 to make sure that everyone here is informed. And today, as I said, we will be starting with Dr. Wondertainment. So, here is a quick overview. Dr. Wondertainment, whether an individual or a collective entity, is capable of producing anomalous artifacts and entities with thematic resemblance to children's toys. The nature of these objects and devices vary, although were all clearly intended to be utilized by children. In addition, Dr. Wondertainment is responsible for the creation of the Little Misters, anomalous humanoids who are altered for collectability. Dr. Wondertainment is also known for having targeted the Foundation personnel in their past, with their feelings towards the Foundation being ambiguous. See, we will be looking at entry for Dr. Isabel Wondertainment in her personal dossier, as she seems to be the closest thing we have to a person. We will also be looking at another instance of someone who could be potentially Dr. Wondertainment, Holly Light. And finally, we will then go through just a couple of some of Dr. Wondertainment's toys, probably focusing quite a lot on the Little Misters, as that's their biggest thing. So, let's begin. So, we're going to take a quick look at Dr. Wondertainment as a company, as seen by the Foundation. We'll start with a quote from Dr. Wondertainment to the SCP Foundation in SCP 3992. We hope that you'll share these with a few more of your guests and get some top-notch results. With all honesty though, we make these products because many don't get a chance to experience a proper childhood or even celebrate such a unique time of year. So, during this magical time where the mundane blend with the uncanny, we want to celebrate it right and give a little more. Because that's what it's all about, right? So, Dr. Wondertainment is a name given for an anomalous entity known as Dr. Wondertainment Limited. And it's either a reality-bending individual or a business that supplies an assortment of toys and gadgets that exhibit anomalous properties, many of which are contained here at the Foundation. They are also depicted, well, they also appear to be an enemy of the Factory. There are a number of potential origins for Dr. Wondertainment. It is unclear who Dr. Wondertainment is or exactly when it was formed, although the Foundation suggests that it could be a name of either the individual who founded the company or perhaps the actual name of the company itself. So the people that we're going to be looking into for today will be the former owner, Reginald Filbert Lionel Archibald Wastinghouse Wondertainment III, and his successor. The former of which we don't actually know that much about. We've got a few key descriptors, and that is it. All we know is it is a capitalist construct. It makes toys aimed towards children, and it is childish and playful. And whether or not that claim is true is up for debate. So let's take a look at the history. Due to the nature of Dr. Wondertainment, there are a few different versions of the origin story, but the most probable one is Isabel Helga Anastasia Pavarotti Wondertainment was the daughter of the late Reginald Filbert Lionel Archibald Wastinghouse Wondertainment III, MD, PhD, DDS, Esquire, who previously was the key creative director and big boss man of Dr. Wondertainment. She was always surrounded by Jeremy Corgis, who performed various tasks for her. Let's take a look at one of her adventures, sort of gives a little bit more background potentially to our origin at the company. Isabel was previously the lead toy designer at Dr. Wondertainment before she received a letter from her father. The letter stated that both he and his wife, Isabel's mother, had perished during a private project. The letter announced Isabel as the new key creative director and big boss lady of the company. Okay, let's have a look at some powers and abilities. As Dr. Wondertainment, Isabel has the ability to create various powerful and bizarre toys, each with their own abnormal anomalies, that can defy reality. She could achieve this thanks to her great intelligence and reality warping powers. She most likely inherited from her predecessor. However, just like the other Wondertainments, she wasn't in the right state of mind, and being unable to perceive things correctly, of which often led her to manipulate or cause unintentional damage. In the final battle against the Scarlet King, Isabel was able to tap into her power of creation, which allowed her to be more than a match for the evil old god. Along with 6 other warriors, she wielded the king's spear and was able to kill him and prevent the destruction of the universe. In the aftermath, she alongside all death rebuilt reality. Her appearance, Isabel is often described as having red hair and green eyes, uh, and in times for Christmas she would wear ugly sweaters. In another account, she was described as possessing light brown skin, leaving her ethnically ambiguous, but she always wears a top hat. This is an excerpt from Assistance for the Boss Lady, a document we have here at the SCP Foundation. Kids just didn't buy toys anymore. They were too busy playing those horrible video games which rotted their brains and promoted all sorts of unwholesome behavior like murder, foul language, and microtransactions. Isabel, oh, she tried. Her work was not lacking. The whiteboard walls of her office were covered in scribblings and enough ideas to keep the Wondertainment production line going for a generation. But it wouldn't do any good if the only people who ever bought their toys were a few odd collectors and their ever-dwindling number of Wondertainment faithfuls. All that work, all that effort, and no one liked any of her toys. Heart and soul poured out onto her work, and the boards bark back with a wheezing, "The focus groups don't like it." There never used to be any focus groups at this company. And this is an excerpt from Dr. Wondertainment to the Foundation in SCP-4714. Here at Wondertainment Industries, we believe that the best toys are those created with only fun in mind. When we lose sight of that, we lose the spark that makes our toys the best toys out there. Dr. Isabel Helder Anastasia Pavarotti Wondertainment V, PhD, is a key player here at the Foundation. She is also the key creative director and big boss lady of Dr. Wondertainment, being a mysterious but childish individual with the ability to create anomalous toys for children to enjoy. She was one of the key players in the verse of ending song happenings and is often seen as an antagonist to our favorite Scarlet King. Okay, so now we are going to talk about one of the most well-known products from Dr. Wondertainment, the Little Misters series. I'm going to read through a couple of their files here and try and keep it as brief as possible, just to give you an idea of the sort of things that Dr. Wondertainment comes out with. And it seems only fitting that we start with the first one, Mr. Chameleon, otherwise known as SCP-905. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-905 is to be contained in a 6 meter by 6 meter by 3 meters containment cell, padded matte black. This cell is to be devoid of any mirrors or windows. 2 LED arrays are to be installed in the ceiling housing SCP-905. Every few hours, SCP-905 is to be fed for 20 minutes. As of current regulations on Misters, 905 will be contained in the Hall redacted of Site redacted. Description: SCP-905 is a sentient entity composed of photons. These photons can arrange a humanoid shape that has been described as fuzzy but definite. It's around 1.75 meters tall. However, its mass is immeasurable. SCP-905 has shown the ability to speak through the manipulation of air particles, but the mechanism to perform this is unknown. SCP-905 is capable of the same movement as a human male or of the same body structure, but due to its photonic nature, it is unable to manipulate solid objects aside from emitting a weak electromagnetic radiation. Solids such as doors must be moved for SCP-905 before it can enter or leave. Addendum: the words Mr. Chameleon from Little Misters, registered trademark by Dr. Wondertainment, are printed upon SCP-905's left calf. SCP-905 shows an inability to change the wavelength emitted from that print. Its designation appears to be 1. Now, we're going to look at the first Little Mister that the Foundation encountered, SCP-909, which is Mr. Hot. Item number, SCP-909. Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-909 is to be contained in a standard humanoid containment cell, with no writing materials are to be allowed in the cell. In a short summary of SCP-909's current situation is to be pasted onto the wall beside his bed. Extras are to be provided if the summary is removed by SCP-909. SCP-909 is to be fed 3 times daily with any peanut-free meal. If SCP-909 is seen attempting to write or draw, he is to be incapacitated through non-lethal means. Current exemptions with SCP-909's effect have been discontinued due to the risk of containment breach. Research may be conducted if the site director's approval is given. As of current regulations on Misters, SCP-909 is to be contained in the hall blank of Site redacted. Description: SCP-909 appears to be a young Caucasian male suffering with a permanent retrograde amnesia. SCP-909 seems to be aware of his condition but cannot recall his experiences from the past, aside from memories granted due to SCP-909's effects. This is Mr. Forgetful, I misspoke earlier. SCP-909's anomalous effects become apparent when it writes down any of its experience still in its working memory. When described through writing, the experience immediately enters SCP-909's long-term memory. However, the experience disappears from the memory of all other persons involved. SCP-909 is allergic to peanuts and will go into anaphylactic shock following the ingestion of any peanuts. SCP-909 was discovered at the entrance of Expunged of Site Redacted. The words Mr. Forgetful from Little Misters, trademark registered by Dr. Wondertainment, are tattooed upon SCP-909's upper right calf. Upon discovery, it was wearing a three-piece suit, a brand named Doctor's Orders. Thank you for joining me as we go over this brief overview of the group of interest known as Dr. Wondertainment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, I would appreciate that. I know it's only internal in the Foundation, but it does help me know that I'm getting the right stuff out there. As to when the next file will be, I will let you know. I have to wait for orders from upstairs. I've been Dr. Alistair Hewitt, and I am signing off.